A new Cutlass Supreme.
The home, dear? Get old Betsy fixed for the vacation?
Replaced? What a bet?
Expensive.
Not as much as I thought for an old.
Get new tires.
Sure did. New front disc brakes. New Rocket 350 V8.
Can't hear you. What's that?
The new Olds Cutlass Supreme. It came with the tires.
What a step up. Holy cow.
They'll never believe it if your friends could see you now.
There was a time when the name Oldsmobile stood for everything great about American cars: innovation, craftsmanship, and the unmistakable feeling of freedom on the open road. For over a century, Oldsmobile was a driving force behind the automobile industry itself. But by the early 2000s, that once glorious name had vanished. Another victim of changing times, lost identity, and corporate missteps. This is the story of Oldsmobile, the brand that helped innovate the car and how it drove itself into history. Our journey begins in 1897 when a man named Ranson L. Olds founded the Olds Motor Vehicle Company in Lansing, Michigan. At the dawn of the automobile age, cars were handmade luxury items. But Olds had a different vision. He wanted to make a car that ordinary Americans could actually afford. In 1901, he introduced the curved dash Oldsmobile, the first mass-produced car in the United States. It was simple, reliable, and at just $650, surprisingly affordable. The curved dash became a runaway success, selling thousands of units and putting America on wheels. Years before Ford's Model T hit the scene, Ranson Olds had changed history. In 1908, Oldsmobile joined General Motors, becoming one of its founding brands. Under GM's umbrella, Oldsmobile became a household name, blending luxury and performance in a way few others could. The brand was bold. It wasn't afraid to experiment. In 1940, Oldsmobile introduced the Hydra Mact, the world's first fully automated transmission, a feature that would soon become standard across the entire industry. And then came the Rocket era. In 1949, the Rocket 88 debuted, featuring a powerful, high-compression V8 engine that made it one of the first true American muscle cars. It didn't just dominate racetracks, it inspired an entire generation, even becoming the subject of one of the earliest rock and roll songs, Rocket 88. By the 1950s and 60s, Oldsmobile was on fire. Not literally, but in spirit. Cars like the Cutlass 442 and the Tornado became status symbols. The Tornado in particular broke barriers with its front-wheel drive system, a rare feature in American cars at the time. They weren't just cars, they were statements. Sleek, powerful, and built to last. By the 1970s, Oldsmobile had hit its peak. The Cutlass Supreme became America's best-selling car, and in 1976, the brand sold over 1 million vehicles in a single year. For GM, Oldsmobile wasn't just another division. It was a goldmine. The perfect balance between Chevrolet's affordability and Cadillac's luxury. Owning an Oldsmobile meant you made it without being flashy. But behind the success, trouble was quickly brewing. As the 1980s rolled in, the cracks started to show. GM's cost-cutting strategy meant that many of its brands began to look the same. Oldsmobile's lost its unique identity. Its cars, once bold and distinct, started sharing parts, designs, and even names with Buick, Pontiac, and Chevrolet, and customers noticed. The once proud Oldsmobile became just another car in the lineup. Meanwhile, Japanese automakers like Honda, Toyota, and Nissan were making vehicles that were cheaper, more efficient, and often more reliable. Oldsmobile tried to modernize with models like the Cutlass, Achieva, and Aurora, hoping to attract younger buyers. Then came the now infamous slogan, "This is not your father's Oldsmobile." It was supposed to make the brand feel fresh and exciting, but instead, it alienated loyal customers and failed to win over new ones. By the mid-1990s, Oldsmobile's identity crisis was complete. It wasn't clear who the cars were for anymore. Sales plunged, and once loyal fans moved on. In 2000, after years of declining sales, General Motors announced it would shut down Oldsmobile, the first time in its history that it closed one of its core divisions. For the workers in Lansing, it was heartbreaking. Oldsmobile had been more than a brand. It was a hometown legacy, employing generations of families. The final car, an Alaro, rolled off the assembly line on April 29, 2004. Workers signed their names on the inside of the hood, a farewell message to over a century of craftsmanship. After 107 years, Oldsmobile was gone. Today, Oldsmobile lives on through collectors who polish their chrome every weekend, through the rumble of a Rocket 88 engine, and through the history it helped write. It was a brand that dreamed big, that dared to innovate, and for decades defined what it meant to be a car maker. Oldsmobile may be gone, but its legacy still drives on.